Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Collect Your Thoughts. In today's episode, we're talking about being a villager in the 21st century, meaning how we show up for the people in our tribes, the ways that we don't, what makes that difficult, and maybe even some ways that we can do that better. Plus, we also take on MI6 and some sassy old ladies. All that and more coming up next. I'm Jason LeCompte,
And I'm Sean Millhouse.
and this is Collect Your Thoughts.
Tell me about your Saturday. What'd you do with your Saturday?
I ventured out with my husband and we went to go see Project Hail Mary.
Bastard! You said that you were going to stay with me.
We just hadn't made the plans yet. And he was like, I know you wanted to go see the movie. We should go see if there's any times. So we did. Yeah. It was good. It was cute.
I'm a little hurt. I'm a little hurt because I literally was going, I'm going to wait until Jason's good to walk again before we make plans with him.
Oh, well, the movie would have been gone by then. Like,
No, they extended the release. No, I mean to walk how you're walking now, like where you can get around more
got
easily.
it.
Like I was going to wait for a
got
week
it.
or two for you to recover before I made a plan.
Okay. I apologize.
It's okay.
We will go see other movies.
Okay.
But this was cute. This was cute.
Yeah.
It was I feel like they did a good job with it. Obviously like tons of detail from the book that they had to leave out, but yeah, like they captured like the core of the story and they did a good job with the alien creature being sort of like funny but relatable but also very alien. Like it was good. Yeah.
All right.
I need to read about it.
I'm a little by her. I'm laying on the my Catholic guilt ability is coming out. I literally broadcasted on this podcast. I wanted to see this with you in a hope that I was going to commit us to it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, villager. What's on the agenda today?
Well, yeah, villager. Yeah. So that post that I was telling you about from Eliza Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
She's an LCSW, and her Instagram handle is therapist_in_NYC. And she's got a good bunch of followers, 35,000 followers or something. I was like, for somebody who's just a therapist who likes to post on social media, like she does a good job.
Yeah, I've been impressed with therapists that do that.
Well, and her content that she puts out, like, is, I think, super. I don't follow just anybody. Like, if something comes through my, For You page and I see it and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good. I have to go into the page and click and see if, the majority of the content is for me. And then I might follow that person. But like, I think her stuff is great and I've been following her for a while, but she posted a couple of things about like how to find your tribe in a very disconnected world. And I know that's definitely one of our themes. We talk about connection and relationships and all that kind of stuff. So she says in this particular post, having a village can make or break the highest of highs or the lowest of lows for all of us. And if you don't have one yet, here's your how to find a village in a very disconnected world. So this is how it starts out. So she says, in reality, we were never meant to live in isolation. But the phrase, it takes a village, is not just about kids. It's about surviving this big, beautiful world as people too. Our nervous systems are wired for co-regulation, mutual support, shared burdens, and overall connection. So the concept of the village has been trending everywhere these days. And so she's like, she wants to dive in. So she just talks about it. Like, what does it really mean to her?
Mm-hmm.
And I like what she has to say. She talks about stuff like reciprocal support, like a system where help flows both ways without keeping score. And this one I like that particular point I like because I run into more often than I like the concept of almost like transactional relationships. Even with some people that I consider close, I'll get like is it an edge? I'll get a flavor of expectation, or I'll pay you back. I hear a lot, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want you to pay me back. I'm doing this because I appreciate our friendship and I'm contributing. But I feel like that's gotten lost a little bit
Mm.
in modern day. What do you think?
It's hard for me to like because yes, I also agree. Like, I like the idea of things not being transactional, like at the heart of the matter. I think that's
Mhm.
obviously the best, but it takes a while for me to actually believe that that has been achieved in a sense that, like, I've had it happen to me a lot where I give and give and give and give and give and give and
Mm,
give and give and give, and I don't get anything back. And so, like, I know part of that is you can either say something which sucks, or you can, kind of distance yourself from that relationship or something. But, like, from what I read about this, like, it's hard to build connection and trust if you don't feel like somebody gets you back. And so, to me, like, that I think that there has I don't think it needs to be consistently back to back, like constant pay back and forth. But I
right.
do think there has to be movement on both sides, or
Yeah.
it does feel like you're just sort of the caretaker of a relationship. And I've been that more times than I can count. And I'm definitely in a place where I'm just sort of like, "Oh, okay, you're giving less, I'm giving you nothing anymore." Like, because I'm just like, I don't wanna give to people who don't appreciate what I give.
So you are so you're talking about like contributing in terms of what? Efforts, favors, like reaching
Effort,
out,
things
like
I do, yeah,
yeah.
initiation of things to do, anything that I just feel like is energy of putting myself out there
Yeah.
and that person not, like, giving me that back. Like, it's like they're receptive, but they're putting their name on the paper, but they didn't really contribute much besides showing up.
Mm, yeah, I can see that.
So I think, like, when it talks about, like, I love the notion. I really enjoyed these like the posts. There was a first one and then there was a
Mm.
second one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that absolutely what she talks about is really great. And I also see how we are struggling to make villages because I don't think people are as committed to it. I just don't think people really are wanting to do the work of having a relationship, because you do have to do enough work in
Yeah,
order to get to the part where there's low stake gatherings. Like, I know for a fact I'm not just going to invite anybody over for a low stakes gathering.
right. Like, just to hang out, just to parallel sit there and chill
Yeah. Yeah,
and
where you
have no
don't have to entertain
expectations
each
and
other,
yeah,
but, like,
right.
it still feels like quality time. And
Mm,
so I definitely wanna, like, make sure that, A, I really enjoyed that person and seeing
mm,
them in times that are planned, but then also seeing, like, truly actions speak louder than words. And so if the actions aren't there,
yeah.
then I'm kinda like, "Well, you didn't hit the vibe." And so I think that I also, though, have learned to become much more, I think, like, I think I had too open of a gate, and now I'm very like, "No, you gotta
Huh.
earn your, admission."
There's a piece in there that sticks out to me that well, I don't know if it's maybe it's another aspect of this that could be feeding that disconnect or that however you're kinda describing that, right? Where it feels like a little bit of a push-pull, right? Where you open the gate, close the gate, open the gate, close the gate.
Mhm.
It's the inconvenience of people. Like, it sounds silly to say it that way, but for me, the biggest point about being a villager and finding your tribe is showing up, but it's not showing up just when it's convenient.
Right.
It's showing up when it's inconvenient for you.
Mhm.
That's the effort, the reciprocity I think we're talking about, that, like, connection really requires us to be available to the people that we care about
Yeah.
when they need us.
Yeah.
So for me, for a lot of times, like I feel like that's the barrier is either it's habit and then I'm not going to reach out or I'm not going to show up because it feels inconvenient and I'm lazy and I make an excuse, or I just don't wanna be bothered, and so I don't involve myself at all until then I end up feeling more and more alone or more isolated.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of
Yeah,
people operate like that, which is also why I think, like, it makes sense why people feel disconnected because it
yeah,
does it is truly it's effort. It really is effort. It is I know we talked about this a little bit on another episode, but deliberate effort. Not
yeah.
just like, "Oh, I happened to run into you and I guess we'll make plans now," but like, "You know what? I've been thinking about this and I really don't maybe think that I have been, doing enough in this way. Or you know what? I want to step up or I just want to see them. And so I'm going to like be like, "Hey, come on over. Let's just hang." And
Mhm.
so that to me is like I think that also takes introspection, which I think there's a lot of people who put a lot of information out there about themselves, but I don't know how much of them are doing the work internally, like by themselves or with a therapist.
Or with a a
Yes.
therapist, yeah, yeah. I feel like some of what you're describing too is like being vulnerable, like asking
Yeah.
for someone to help us. I feel like is sometimes a push against that is sometimes the effort that we have to make, not just to go help somebody who needs us. That feels maybe easier to me, easier to a lot of people. But like when we are in need, the vulnerability that we feel, the ability to go, hey, I need you. Can you come here? Right? Can you come make
Mhm.
this effort for me? Knowing that in the moment or even in the near future, I won't be able to quote unquote pay it back. That's a vulnerable position to be in. And we don't like to feel that way. So I think that also contributes to not showing up and even not and just feeling more disconnected.
Say more on that.
So, like, sometimes I talk about this in terms of power, like power dynamics. Like,
Mhm.
it's a quote unquote powerful position to be in when we have the ability to help someone who needs our help. Right? There's an imbalance there where I'm in a position of power. I'm in a position of I can make an effort and I can help somebody who needs my help. That person's in a a lower position of power, less power. But the reverse, when we feel like we need somebody, that feels vulnerable. That feels less
Sure.
powerful. And so to ask, "Hey, can you help?" I really have to trust. I really have to lean in. I really have to feel that, embrace that vulnerability to then ask for the help that I think I need in that moment. And that's the part that I think a lot of us don't want to do. We don't want to say, "Hey, my Achilles is broken and I can't walk my dog. Can you please come walk my dog?"
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm super, super sick and I can't make myself the soup that I ordered from the grocery store. Could you please come over and warm up the soup and bring it to me?
Yeah.
Like that's a really vulnerable thing to ask in those positions. So that's where I
Yeah.
think we also don't, quote unquote, like you're saying, make the effort. If you
Yeah. I also I mean, like, I think this is totally from just my specific lens, but, like, that's even more intensified if you're a single person, because
I can imagine.
if you have
Yeah.
roommates or a single person living by yourself, let me put that way,
Mm,
because if you don't have roommates or you don't have a partner, you learn to have to do everything by yourself, and so you're not used to anybody actually even being there to do
yeah.
something unless, like, they do just happen to take that on. And so it is sometimes very hard to get out of my head. It's not even I'm not even actively knowing I'm in my head because I'm
Mm,
like, oh, like I get the thing done. It may not have been as easy as I wish it had, but I
mm,
get it done. And so I think it's a matter of like not knowing that you can ask for help or that it's warranted to ask for help and also because I think, like, kind of what we touched on a tiny bit was just that I think the convenience factor.
mm.
I think a lot of people are like, they're busy or they're committed or whatever, and so when you might need something, they might not be able to provide it, and it's not necessarily a bad thing on either end, it's just, like, it's just unfortunate timing, and so that to
But
me
can
is
still
also
feel can still feel like rejection
Oh,
when
100%, for
you're
sure.
asking and they can't, right? And so then
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
to me, that compounds the vulnerability, the feeling of I can't count on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So,
totally.
yeah, yeah, for me, that's actually that's part of it too, is that those experiences. Obviously, we want, like, when we are feeling vulnerable and we do put ourselves out there and we do ask, we want that to be we wanna have a positive experience. We want it to be reinforced that we can trust that person. But then also when we don't, then sometimes we do feel like we can't trust that person.
Yes. Well, and I liked what it said in the one part of the post where it says to move a relationship from surface level to substantial, we need to balance trusting that it'll happen with being ready with all we've got to show up when it does. And so that is really tough because I sometimes the readiness or
Yeah.
the trust, it can be sort of like a chicken or the egg. And so then it's like if you don't see, it's almost like watching, like, I don't know, like on a thing where it's showing like, this system's on. This is like, I don't know, I'm imagining like a rocket ship or something. It's like the engines blah, blah, go,
Yeah.
and activated. Like to me, like this is kind of like moving a relationship from surface level to substantial is like showing up consistently,
Yeah.
checking in regularly, having casual fun time that's easygoing doesn't add more shit to my life. Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. Ah, like, and
And
so
then
when that
yeah,
happens,
then
it's
it
a magical
gels.
thing.
Right, yeah,
Yes, but
and it
also
feels good.
like it's effort on both sides.
Have I ever shared the levels of conversation?
Yes.
So yeah, I think I shared it with you. I don't think I shared it on here, but, with our group or with you in particular,
I
but
know you've shared it with our group.
yeah, I think I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I think I remember doing that. But to me, that's a great, like, getting past small talk, getting past, just what's happening on TV or in current events, even past what's in my head, right? Or
Mhm.
my opinions on something, and going to the feelings and the needs that are that are more core and that are more vulnerable. That's where I feel like I want to respond to the people that are asking me for those things, but then I also want to be able to trust people with my feelings and my needs. So, yeah, that's just the way that I gauge. I like to keep that as a reference point in my head, is those levels of conversation.
So how do you feel like, at least from your perspective, maybe even some of your own experience with it, like how do people, I guess, achieve that trust with you to get to the vulnerability that you just mentioned?
Hmm. Um, yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that I have a formula. It's
Sure.
probably largely a felt experience for me,
Mm,
but I think largely it's in conversations that I have, experiences that I have with that person,
yeah.
where I feel held, I feel seen, I feel like I'm not too much,
Yeah.
or that I'm enough. Like, some of that is that felt experience, right? Where I really feel like seen and known and appreciated.
Mhm.
Somebody is interested in me, somebody displays curiosity and asks me about things.
Mhm.
A- And then also, like, the thing that I'm just over and that I won't even entertain anymore is, oh, we should do something together sometime. No. If you're serious in that moment, I'm gonna challenge you with a date. I'm gonna
Mhm.
pull out my calendar. I'm gonna go, how about next Friday, 7 p.m.? What do you got going on? Will literally set up those plans, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not performing vulnerability and connection anymore. At this point in my life, I'm over that. If you're really serious, great. And so to me, that's being vulnerable and extending a chance for that person to connect deeper or to back
Mhm.
up what they're saying. And
Mhm.
if they show up, great. Now the trust is reinforced. And if they don't show up, or if they kind of keep punting it, or if I keep feeling deprioritized, then it's not a real connection to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's my again, it's not really a formula, but
No, no, and
it's
I
a
definitely
yeah.
didn't want it to be a formula.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
it needs to be like whatever just comes up to you, whatever is rising to the top of your mind when you think
Mhm.
about that is your truth. So, yeah, and I think that's what
Yeah.
everybody has to do is like allow whatever is rising up about those conversations or this topic
Mhm.
to reach that place so that you can actually access it and then know what to potentially do with it. But you first have to be able to name it.
the second part of the post, she talks about, this is, Eliza, going back to the Instagram post, she says, "Kill the phrase, 'Let me know if you need anything.'"
Mhm.
I feel like that's this is just what we're talking about. That's a real challenge because that's such an easy thing to say, and it is also very intentional.
Mhm.
Like, I mean what I say when I say that to people, but I can count probably on one hand of the hundreds of times I might have said that in my life, probably one hand is somebody actually coming back and saying, "Actually, could you help me?"
Yeah.
Right? Or calling me the next day or the next week or the next month and going, "Hey, that thing that we talked about is here. Can you come over?" Like, it never happens.
Mhm.
And so she's talking about identifying a need and then reaching out, right?
Yeah.
Engaging with yourself like, do I want to show up for this person? Do I want to be involved in this way? Do I want to be this person for this person in my life? And yeah, like if I'm close with somebody, like the answer is probably yes. So
Mhm.
identifying a need and then reaching out and going, "Hey, can I come over today and help you with X?" Right? "Hey, I know you're sick in bed. Can I bring you some groceries?" "Hey, whatever the particular need is that we're doing." And I really like that. I like that she's like directly challenging the let me know if you need anything.
And see, yeah, like I saw something recently. I don't remember what it is, and I might have shared it
Mm,
with you. I have shared it with a lot of my clients when
mm,
they're having communication issues. Is I feel like the more specific version of let me know if you need anything that you can
mhm,
actually use that can helpfully like it does make it more specific is to say what would supporting you look like right now and that to me is like a way of them actually letting me know. It's not about just me blanket saying, "I'm here if you need me," but like truly saying, "Please, in this moment,
mhm,
like if you know that there is something that I could do to support you,
mhm,
then I'm all ears." Like that is an open-ended, not just like let me know if you need help, but like just in specific things. Like what would it look like? And then if that person doesn't know, like it's really hard too. I think it depends on like when you see how receptive a person is to help, that
mhm,
also can gauge like how much you want to push on that. But that's
mhm,
why I think sometimes like you can identify a need and I think that can help, but also it can yeah, I think you just have to be prepared that maybe it may not go that way because maybe
mm.
you haven't I don't know, you didn't you I think sometimes it can feel like a whack-a-mole, like, "Is it this? Is it this? Is it this?" And so I feel like
Were
if
you
you
guessing? Like, kinda like
yeah,
where you're
yeah, like,
guessing as to what they need? Yeah.
do they want company? Do they want somebody to bring them food? Do they
Mhm,
want me to pick up something for them? Whatever.
mhm,
And so, yeah, like versus what would it look like for me to show up for you right now?
yeah.
And then that way, like if somebody can offer it, a lot of times when people have repeated that question to me, usually it's just kind of like, I mean, honestly, right now, the only thing I can think of is, can you make this go away? Otherwise, there's nothing I can think of. But thank you. Like
Can
seriously,
you
because
can you make this need go away or this
the thing I'm going
inconvenience? Like,
through that's difficult,
the thing
can
I'm
you
going
make it
through,
go
yeah,
away? Like,
yeah,
it's truly
yeah,
like and that's why it's hard because it's like sometimes I can think of something like, concrete, but I think a lot of times people just want the hard thing to go away and they just they don't know what else to really put their energy into. And so that's really hard.
Can I challenge you on that?
Like, yeah.
Is that really being truly vulnerable?
What do you mean? Like saying like just saying like what I said about
Yeah,
like, can you make that go
like
away?
yeah, like, like with my Achilles injury, right? If I were to say like, "Can you just make that go away?" Like, truly, it's not within your power. It's not within my
Right.
power, not
Yeah.
anybody's power. It just needs
Right.
needs time.
Yeah.
So by saying that, is that keeping that person at a distance? Because they
Only
can't
if you
really
do
make it like, you can't really make it go away.
well, yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying is like, I don't know but if you can make this like it's also in jest. Like I'm saying it also like, listen, I know that this is something you literally can't do, but this is the only thing that I can think of that I wish somebody could help me with.
So it's
Like
more of a you're saying it more jokingly then.
I mean, it's both true and like, cause it's like saying
Well, sure.
like
Yeah.
to me, it's really hard when somebody says, I want to help you and you don't
Mm,
know, like, like I said, especially if you're used
if
to
you
sustaining yourself. And
right.
usually I know how I have worked out all the kinks to know how to
Yeah.
get what I need for the most part. And
Sure.
so it's only when I am like in an emergency situation where like I have to, my back's against the wall. But
Mhm.
otherwise, so it's kind of like waiting for someone else to show up can sometimes be more of like, this is how I'm letting you help me, but really I could have done this for myself. And now I'm just waiting for you to be able to come and do it for me. And so while I love the gesture, I also, though, I'm like, I could have taken care of that. So like, I like if I need it in an hour and you can give it to me in 3, I'm going to choose me getting it in an hour.
True.
Get what I'm saying?
And
Like, I just think
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
also thinking about it in service of the connection that it creates. The relationship that it reinforces when we do allow ourselves to rely on the person, even if it's within our scope, but they want to show up and want to do for us.
I no,
Like
I
it
understand what you're
it
saying. I guess it's just
yeah.
like it's not that I'm wanting to deny connection. It's just like I guess like if somebody like if they want to show up and literally do nothing with me, that
Mhm.
to me is way more helpful. But a lot of time people aren't available. Like a lot of people are not available.
Yeah.
A lot of people live far away. I will also say too, like I think you mentioned it in some of your notes about like midlife helping to crystallize important things.
Mhm.
Is I
Mhm.
think that like I'm definitely in a place where it is harder to like live somewhere like Arkansas where I don't feel like a lot of things support what I truly want and need. But
Mm.
I have people I love here, I might work here. And so, like, but at the same time, like, this is the thing that I talk to my clients all the time about. It's like the older you get, the harder friendship is, the harder everything is because everybody's pulled in a million directions. And a lot of times they can't be there for you when you need them. And I think that's the thing is like, after the fact, like, yeah, it's great. I'm glad that, we can hang out like when we're good. But like, I think when it's coming to need, like,
Mm.
I'm just so like I'm a firm believer. I want to get through it
Yeah.
and do that as fast as I can, if in the healthy way, not just like rush in and put a band-aid on it, but
Sure,
also
sure.
like, yeah, if I just know like, no, I can't think of anything that a person can help me with, like
Yeah.
that's the this is the best I got.
What do you think about so I feel like you're talking a little bit about it, but not directly, but she also says something around like normalizing the ugly check-in.
Mm,
So she says, we've been conditioned to only show our village and our community the highlight reel. But if you only reach out when you have good news, you're building a fan club, not a
yes.
community.
Yes.
So being a villager means being the first one to send the I'm overwhelmed, my kitchen is a disaster, I'm failing at everything today text. That it's vulnerable, but it's also, can you come over and help with this? Right? It's a check-in. It's this isn't my best day. Can we still hang out?
Hmm.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's spot on, but I like the idea. I think in practice it does feel I don't know, maybe it feels vulnerable. Maybe it
Sure.
is me wanting to perform put togetherness. I'm putting myself in the
Mm.
hot seat now.
Okay. I was gonna
I'm just
say
well
like,
that I mean
yeah.
reflecting. That's just what I'm saying. Like I'm
Oh, okay.
reflecting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I didn't know. I was
maybe
like, is that a
yeah.
question?
No, 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 no. Yeah, it's more
Okay.
of just a reflection. Like it's a
Yeah.
great idea, and how often do I do that? How often do I tell somebody I'm overwhelmed and can you help, or I'm overwhelmed and can we just hang out and
Hmm.
ignore the overwhelm, or like I don't know.
I think it depends on each person. Like, I think each person has a formula,
Yeah.
whether they realize it or not. That, like, when you said earlier about a formula, like, and I'm not talking about like an exact like blah blah plus blah blah equals blah blah. Like,
No, no,
maybe
no,
you
no. Yeah,
can come
yeah.
up with that, but like, I definitely know for me, it's about consistency and the building of trust, and that person doing it in like jumping in ways that
Mhm.
I couldn't have like couldn't have thought of. It's
Yeah.
almost like they somehow perform a magic trick because it's like I didn't know I needed that, but like you were able to provide that. And so that like
Yeah.
gives me the green light, which then allows me, I think that's how you get membership into the ugly check-in club is is truly like you have shown up enough in everyday ways that
Mhm.
matters, that when it gets to a crisis, you're automatically the first person I think about. And I have
Mm.
those people in my life, but like
Yeah.
it gets smaller and smaller, it just, and I
It's a
think this
short
is,
list.
it's part, yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, it probably relatively should be. I definitely, there's levels, but also yeah, I don't think you can achieve that. If you can, great. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, that's definitely, it takes a lot because I want, if I'm going to be taken care of, like, I really want to be able to be ugly in that check-in. I
Mhm.
really don't want, like, here's something that I've had to reckon with for a long time. People would, and I think, y'all experienced it to a degree at BCC, is like some people will freak the fuck out if I'm not like in a good mood.
Mm.
And so like I think I've allowed myself more and more the space to, like, if I'm grumpy, I'm grumpy, or if I'm irritable, I'm irritable.
Mm.
But like I do also sometimes then go, I'm sorry you don't like me as much right now. Like, or because I know that's not what you are saying, but also it's kind of like, I'm sorry my not giving you best Sean is inconveniencing you. And it's because sometimes it's like, come on, just smile. I used to get that
Uh-huh.
shit all the time. I'm just like, go fuck yourself. I don't want to smile. You go smile. Go shove your ass up your face. I don't know. And so, yeah, so I
Yeah.
guess like that's where it's just like authenticity. I think a lot of
Mm.
people are terrified of authenticity, and
Yeah.
and part of that is also like how real are you willing to go? And I think
'Cause
some people like the idea.
it's not pretty all the time. It's not happy
God
all the
no,
time.
most
It's
of the
not
time,
right.
honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
even
yeah,
when
that's
it's like good, it can still not be pretty.
yeah. That's the difficult part about realness and what you're talking about is that
Mhm.
if you want if health is really mental and emotional health is really allowing yourself to be able to express the full range of emotions
Mhm.
and closeness and connection is really about vulnerability. You need to be free to be authentic and vulnerable with
Yeah.
those people, and that's not going to look pretty at least half the time,
I'd
right?
probably say 75% sometimes.
Sure, depending on the day of the week, the
Yeah.
whatever, right? Depending on if Mercury's in retrograde or but seriously, like those are
Yeah.
that is something I think is important. Like this is maybe expanding on the post and expanding on the subject that we're talking about, but like that truly is the reality of closeness and connection and having a village is if you want people to be in your life and you want to be in other people's lives, we all have to be willing to show up imperfectly, show up sad, show up grumpy, show up tired, show up disheveled with a messy kitchen, with a broken foot, whatever it is, whatever the inconvenience or the ugliness is. We're all
Yeah.
being conditioned by social media and other ways to only want to show people our best. And that's just not accurate. It's a big fat
Yeah.
lie.
That's
That's the
definitely where I
tough
think
part.
social
Yeah.
media has, like, that's why
Yeah.
it's the irony of us espousing things that we
I
learn
know.
from social media, right?
I
Is
know.
like that is the double-edged sword. It's like there is some great stuff out there,
Oh,
and
for
that is the
sure.
power of the
Yeah.
internet. However, we have become very much, and as the collective people, not you and I,
Mhm. No, no,
is
no, no.
like the highlight reel part. Not just for our people listening, is that we really, I think we've come to this place. I mean, that was part of like what made, before Facebook became the toxic wasteland that it fully is now. I think it was starting to seep in when it was like, look at me and my family pictures. Look how here we are. I love John so much. He means
Mm,
the world to me. And then you find out like a year later they've broken up. And so like I just feel like sometimes it's like thou doth protest too much, but like thou doth put your like I just feel like if you have to
yeah,
overblast your goodness, it's one thing if
yeah.
you're just doing a gratitude check-in or you are celebrating something big, that's great. But like
Mhm,
also, you're not going to see those same people say, guys, I'm going through a divorce. This is the hardest thing I've ever gone through. I really need community here. Can
mhm,
anybody, like, is anybody willing to share their experiences? I think it happens, but I think it's really rarer and rarer these days because
mm.
I just don't think that that is like that's not the vibe of social media as much anymore.
I don't think it ever really has been. The people who
Yeah,
do that do it deliberately and call it out, I think, as they're doing it, and sometimes even that becomes performative.
exactly.
But I do appreciate, like, there are a couple people, influencers, whatever, that I follow that do deliberately post those things in a non-performative way, and I
Yeah.
always appreciate that they're showing their lowlights too. They're showing their
Yes.
more of their life than really just all of their successes, which then, I don't know, sets a tone, sets
It
an
does.
example. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I definitely think people who have chronic issues, I feel
Mm,
like I think about, like Christina Applegate. She's,
mm,
she recently has come out as not recent, I mean, last few years, she has been diagnosed with MS, and I will
yeah.
say I highly recommend her book that she released earlier this year, You with the Sad Eyes. It's in
Mm,
the audiobook is very visceral. She just lays it all out there. It's so good. But anyway, she
yeah.
just really she'll give her shout outs, but then she'll also say, like, this is one of those days, or I've been in one of those periods where
Mhm,
everything is really rough. And I just want you to know the ugly truth about it because she really regrets doing what I think a lot of people, especially women, do. Like when she had breast cancer, she tried to like be very much like, you just be strong, girl. But she's like, I didn't talk about the infections I got. I didn't talk about the
yeah.
surgeries. I didn't talk. She's like, I felt like such a hypocrite because I was putting
Mhm,
this message out there when, behind the scenes, I was crying in the dressing room. And
mm,
so,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that is because I think people just be strong, which I know has been I think torn down a lot. I think our culture is less and less about just saying, "You're so strong," because it's like, yeah, I don't have a choice. Like, I
It's that or roll over and die? Yeah,
right? Like, it's
right,
not. Is it
yeah,
if is it strong or is it fighting for your life? And I think
sure,
that's sure maybe that looks strong, but also it's like, thank you. Like, it's hard. People mean well, but also it's tough.
yeah, yeah,
I will say one thing that I really loved is the love that doesn't demand a reply,
mm,
because that is a way to build trust with really low energy. Like it doesn't take a lot of energy to say, like as she used in the post, no need to reply to this. Just
mm,
want you to know I'm thinking of you every day
yeah,
is a gift of love. And I think that that is so lovely. And I've had those like people in my life who just randomly drop I was just thinking of you, or oh, this song came on and it just made me think of this, or
mhm,
whatever. And so that to me is another like there's nothing necessarily activated from my side going on, but my presence popped into your mind for some reason and you
mhm,
decide to do that. Like I really try to do that. I really try to give people that. And it is about like truly in the moment, stopping what you're doing and letting that person know. Because there are plenty
yeah,
of other times where I've gone, "Oh, I'll let them know later," and then I don't. And then I've like, "Shit, I should have said something." Like, I really
yeah,
regret, like, that is not my character to wanna do that. If I wanna make sure people know I care. I never want
yeah,
people to be unsure if I care about them. And so that is important on my end to try and, like, consider that.
I like that, yeah. There's I've over the last, probably about a year or so, I've recognized that there are people in my life who not only have I chosen them, but they've chosen me back,
Mhm.
and that feels really powerful, really poignant. really important to me.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, those are the people whose birthdays, like, I remember and I celebrate, right? Or those are the mothers that I'll reach out to on Mother's Day and say, I think you're an amazing person, an amazing mother, and, I
Mhm.
love you, and I hope you feel special today, or just things like
Yeah.
that, right? So, like, those, I don't know, something about midlife, something about this point in my life, like, I've realized, I mean, I've been realizing, good Lord, if I've been realizing how finite energy is,
Yeah.
time and energy, right? Turning 50 this year, I'm like, in my 40s, I was like, oh yeah, sure, maybe I'm about halfway through. Hitting 50, I'm like, I'm definitely on the other side of halfway through. If I
Yeah.
make it to 100, that would be miraculous. Um, but I know who these people are, and I want them to know that I love them. And
Yeah.
so I try and take those opportunities, right? I try and send the cookies on their birthday, or I try and, send the flowers on the whatever it is, right? Little
Mhm.
reminders, or it's text messages. It's all those sorts of things that I want them to know that they're loved, and that I'm that person that loves them, or whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that can even come in just the form of, like, when people just share their daily life with you, like, just being like, "Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, we had to do this for so and like, my kid is going through this," or,
Hmm.
"Oh, this thing at work has been really hard." And it's hard because I think, like, especially right now, I think so many people are just trying to survive, like, everything's
Yeah.
expensive. The world's so upside down in so many ways. And right now, I think everything, because it feels exhausting, then even the energy towards easy wins also
Mm.
can get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And that is something I definitely know I have struggled with more in the last couple of years is being able to gauge, like, in my head, I'll be like, "Oh, I really wanna I'd love to have an in-depth conversation with them, but do I have it in me after a day of sessions?"
Mm.
And it's definitely less than it was when I was
Yeah.
at Community Mental Health,
Sure.
because that totally, like, I would just oof, I
That's
didn't I'm
so draining. So draining.
so because it's
Yeah.
just because of the
Yeah.
level of intensity you're working with a lot of
Sure.
times. But it's definitely a little easier now, but also it's like, God, I really hate how far off, like, so many of my favorite people are so not even they feel far away. It may be just hours away,
Mm.
which I guess is like that could be anything, but like only a few hours away. But also, like, that's I think that's why a lot of people look back on some people high school, definitely not me, but definitely college is I loved having my immediate people right there all the time. And my college town was so little that like that it took 10 minutes longest usually to find your person. So it's like
Yeah.
and a lot of times you could walk or whatever. And so it it just I think that's one of the hardest parts about being an adult is everybody goes their own direction based off of their work, their family, the
Yep.
needs that they have. And and so then you have to decide, like, how if you can't find your community where you're at, like, how do you build that? Which I think is also really hard. I think that's
And
why being
sustain
a
it.
villager is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Build it and sustain it. Our village isn't necessarily the 10 or 15 or 20 people that are in closest proximity, like it
No.
was 1,000 years ago, right? It's literally half of my village is on the other side of the country.
Right.
That's difficult, but also we're digitally connected, and so
Yeah.
I can reach out, and I can make efforts in other ways, and I can go visit, and yeah, those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
When you talked about in your notes, you said
Mm.
that it's really crystallized for you in the past year.
Yeah.
What do you feel like? What are the things that crystallized it? Like, do you have
Hmm.
any moments or things that just really like you don't have to like get into specifics, but like just even broad strokes of the things that helped you realize like certain parts had crystallized in your tribe.
That's a great question.
Thank
I
you.
I feel you should probably be a therapist or something.
Oh, I'll try.
Um, I honestly think a big part of it was feeling chosen in
Mm,
return. That's happened in a couple different ways with the different people that are in my life, but, like, we have some my husband and I have some good friends who live here locally, Corey and Elizabeth, and I feel like they have chosen me
mhm,
in return to be a part of their tribe, and that
mhm.
means a lot to me. They've
Yeah,
shown up for us. They've not just offered help, but actually shown up and given help,
yeah,
which, I like I talked about, like, that's really solidified that, trust that I have in them and that connection. And then laying in Matt and their kids, choosing my husband and I as the godparents for their kids, like, that
mhm,
was really, really special, happened last summer. And then maintaining that connection since they've had to move, has been more difficult, more challenging, but also really, like, it's really rewarding when we go there and when we see them
yeah,
and spend time with them. So yeah, I think those two instances for sure have really gelled that, and then also, like I said, like, e- every year I get older, the less time I feel I realize I have, but then also how, like I said, how finite energy is. Like, that's I don't have that much time in the day. I don't have
mhm,
that much energy in the day or the week or the month or the year to focus on all of the things that are interesting or that I like or people that I appreciate or enjoy, or I I feel like I need to invest in. If I want those relationships to continue to grow and survive and be important to me, I need to invest in the smaller, the fewer, the ones who show up. So
yeah,
for me, it's just become more crystallized, like I said.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah. 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 What do you feel like you're taking away from this conversation?
Mm. I love all of the ideas of these posts, and I want everybody, if you can, again, this is at therapist underscore in underscore NYC. Eliza Shapiro, LCSW.
Yeah.
I really think these are great posts. So I really like everybody to try and check it out. It's on Instagram. But and I know we said that, but just again, for anybody that didn't
Mm.
catch it the first time for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
But also like my takeaway, it almost feels overwhelming to deeply hope that people want to shift their attention to things like this that matter and away from all the noise and the busyness and the things that can distract them. I hope that, like, in the way that our world has become increasingly like, let me back it up. I think America has become increasingly like, we can stand alone. I also feel like we as Americans have done that
Mhm.
sometimes out of safety, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of anger.
Mm.
And so my deep desire is that the pendulum's going to swing back to like, I love the idea of I know there's these communities out there where people, they all live in this walkable area where like all their houses are set up in a certain way so that the ideal situation is to walk to different businesses around them or cafes or things like that. And I think it's because people want more walkability in their places that they live so that they
Mhm.
don't have to take a car and go park it and go do this and go do that because that adds extra steps. And I think that's part of it is we have to like take out some of those steps. Like it was the author of Atomic Habits again, James Clear. He,
Yeah.
he talks a lot about like if you have friction in front of your habits, the more friction you have, the less likely you are to complete that. And
Sure.
that to me is a natural friction is just all the things that can get in the way of us being able to reach out to each other. So I guess maybe like that my takeaway, I'm finally getting here, is to really try and identify, is there something you can remove, a friction you can remove from your life
Huh.
that
Yeah.
is potentially keeping you from going a step further with somebody?
Yeah.
And to identify what that is. And we all could do that. And or an opportunity to open ourselves. Like, is there something we can add to our lives
Right.
that can decrease friction? I think thinking about it that way could be helpful.
I like that take. I wasn't there yet at removing the roadblocks, removing the friction. I just, but I did feel sort of like my takeaway is like I feel personally challenged, like in a really good
Yeah,
way,
totally.
to really double down, to really focus in, to really reach out, to really show up. That feels important to me, and it feels like so. You talking about like the pendulum swinging, like I feel like this post in a way, or this conversation in a way, is almost like a call to action
For sure.
to push that pendulum back in the other direction, right?
Mhm.
We shouldn't be waiting for this to
Nope.
happen. Like we are the forces that drive it. So if the world needs more kindness, needs more connection, needs more love, like I feel challenged to become that, to put more of that out there. And I hope other people listening to this conversation do as well. Like that's truly what I feel like is missing a lot of times is we just don't want to make the effort, but the effort needs to be made.
Amen. I really
Amen.
in my head the
Yeah.
whole like as you're saying that, I'm like, now is
Yeah.
the time where I would drop the needle on Waiting on the World to Change by John Mayer. Like, because to me that song was released after like nine
Yeah.
11, but
Uh-huh.
it
Yeah.
really still holds up. Like it is still very much that song. Anyway, like I do think that is such a big thing is we are waiting on things, but we who was it? There was something I just saw recently where that basically it was like we are our own heroes. You have to stop waiting for someone to come get you and save you.
Yeah.
And that is really hard. I think sometimes we're like, if only this one thing would fall through, or if somebody could do this, it's like, no, you got to do it yourself, which,
You do it. Yeah.
which also
Yeah.
means you reach out and let people know if there truly is something that is in the way of something you want.
Mm.
And to
Yeah.
identify that takes courage and vulnerability and real examination.
I like that. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
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 Well, what about I know we usually do like a secret question, and you're welcome to do a secret question,
Sure.
but also maybe there's a different kind of question, a deeper question, another kind of challenge you think you could give me, or I don't know. What
This
do you
is
think?
we've
Yeah.
I told you I was gonna need you to lead by example because I don't really know what you're do you have one in mind? Because, like, that's a yeah, I'm not sure where you yeah, I don't know.
To me, I think I'm looking for like maybe a challenge question, which is going to feel vulnerable in terms of like, if you listened to like if you were listening to our conversation and really wanted to know something else, maybe it's more about something that I've said or more about an experience I've had, more about a feeling, like if it's vulnerable, right, we're going to go down to 4 or 5 in the so maybe it's something between us, or maybe it's just an experience that I have. Like that's the way that I'm thinking about this, is it's really a challenging, more vulnerable question.
Maybe okay, I'll just maybe this is me being fully transparent. I think I'm
Sure.
like, okay, like you put the first card down and show me what you're working with. So because you came up with the idea, and so I'm kind of like, I could like ask some deep shit, but also like I don't know how deep you want to go. Like, like that's tough. So I will say, like, because I feel like I tend to be much more about everything. And I think as much as like I can keep some things to the vest, I definitely think when I open up, I don't shut up versus I think there's a lot about you I sometimes don't know. And so that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, I kind of want to hear where you want to go with this in order to like go the next step.
So I think I'm being sensitive to like some of the personal information that you like the I think you have a different filter or different boundaries around like the professional versus the personal
Yeah.
that I do. And it's not, it's right, wrong, or different, doesn't, so there's no judgment on it. It's just
Mhm.
different. And so I think I'm defer like wanting to defer to that, but I mean I could also ask something and you can just veto it. That's
Yeah,
okay with
yeah,
me.
which
That's
I'm
okay with
totally
me
happy
too.
to be like, "Nope, that's not gonna happen," but I'll definitely entertain it.
Yeah. Okay, so something that stands out, I think I was kind of like poking at it earlier, was the challenge that I was making around making the joke about
Mhm.
making this go away, right? Whatever this situation is, I don't know if I need anything right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and make a joke about, "Can you just make this go away?"
It's
To
again, it's not that I don't know, it's I can't think of something.
in that moment, and so
Yeah.
so then the default is, "Let's just make light of the situation."
Well, sorta, I mean, but also that is my truth. I truly am like, I know someone can't do it, but, like, I just wanna be like,
Yeah,
"That's just the only thing I can think of." Like, I'm really not trying to be an asshole about it. It really is, like, outside of you having a magic wand, which would really help my ass right now,
yeah,
like, I really can't think of anything, but thank you. Like, I always try to say thank you because I know that is really kind and not something that is guaranteed that somebody's even gonna ask if they can help.
sure, sure.
So is there a step on that question? Like, just go for it. If you have something you're thinking of, like, just, like, I guess ask it.
I think I'm wondering if the use of humor slash like what feels to me is like sarcasm. I know it's not like biting. It's not meant to be mean, but it feels like a use of sarcastic humor. It feels like it could push people away. It could diffuse their willingness to help by making light of the situation.
And then, yeah, I'm definitely not I guess maybe I need to add that, like, disclaimer when I say that is, like, I'm not trying to make light of it. Like, it truly, when I think of it, is like 20% is me like, "Ha," because like, I don't part of me is like, I don't I this is being truly being honest. I a lot of times I feel bad that I can't think of something. And
Yeah,
so that's why like even when I put my thing out there of like what can I do to support you right now? There are times where I don't know the answer. And
sure.
so that like cuz sometimes I do just want to be left alone. Sometimes I have already taken care of everything and I can't anticipate anything. And
Mm.
then my hope is that it goes away and then I don't need to bother you with that thing. So it truly isn't like a
There
what
though, bother. Like it's that word tells me
okay.
that y you feel like you are being an inconvenience to a person who is offering to help, and that, to me, is the vulnerability of needing help, is
Hmm.
feeling like an inconvenience and asking anyway. Y and I get that you're talking about you don't know what
I
how
also
to
think part of that
identify
was
that. Yeah.
semantics that I
Yeah.
said bother, but I also would have pushed back if you said bother too, so I'm gonna give you that. Um, because yeah, like but also like sometimes words are just fucking words. So, okay, I didn't mean bother. I don't need to reach out any longer because whatever I've gone through has resolved itself, and I
Mm,
didn't see anything that I couldn't provide. And I guess maybe that's part of it is like maybe looking at is there something I could give up that I do? But again, like I tell you, I
yeah.
you know this about me, Jason. It shows up in many areas of our workplace and also in just who I am. If I can get it done, I will do it myself. And so if I can't get it done, I will ask for help. And
Yeah.
I've had to do that definitely, believe me, in the last, you know, couple of years. I have definitely have been in that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
position.
yeah.
And so it truly that's I think what's really hard is like there's a lot of people who are very self-sustained again, I don't wanna feel like I'm assigning you a chore because, like, that's more work for me, and I don't have a
Yeah,
chore to give you, because it's,
yeah,
like, done. Like
sure. So I'll put myself, in those shoes. I feel like I am also very independent and very self-sustaining and would rather just do the thing
Mhm,
because I know I can get it done and I know how it's gonna play out, blah, 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 all the things, right? And then I think being incapacitated in the way that I have been, I have found myself out of practice in
mhm,
asking for things to be done for me. And so
mhm,
then I don't know how to lean into the vulnerability of asking for favors, asking for because I'm not used to leaning into that feeling. I'm
yeah,
also not used to using the language. And so I think that's what's maybe some of what's informing this line of questioning or this way of thinking is I think for me, it's been a personal challenge in the last few weeks to really, and I mean, obviously, like I have a spouse that I'm supposed to lean on, right? Like, and I do, and I have, and I continue to, and I still want to like put the dishes away. I still want to get the groceries. I still want to, even though I can't because I'm on a scooter or what, like I still feel like I should be doing more.
sure.
So there's a vulnerability in not being able to do for. as well, right? Not be able to show up the ways that I'm normally showing up. So I think that's where kind of where some of this is coming from.
Yeah, no, I imagine
Yeah.
that. I definitely think you're in a very clear position where I'm here's the thing though, here is the
Mm.
thing, here's the thing. Sorry, I'm getting a little activated because I'm
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
how many times this week, Jason, or the week before where I was like, you're like, "Oh, well, I'll take this giant board that I got in the mail and drag it to my office." And I'm like, "Hey, I can get that for you." Or you're like, "I'll do," like, there's so many times where I said, "Can I get that for you?" "Oh, no, no, no,
Mhm,
I got it." And so I
mhm,
think, like, that is one of those moments where I was like, "Okay, I offered." So,
mhm.
like, and so I know you can do it, but also, like, you don't really leave room to get it done, and I know I can do that too. So it's kinda
Sure.
like, I get it, I see you because I see me.
In this doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kinda
yeah.
like, yep,
Yeah.
they're okay, like, he wants, like, I remember I was like, "Oh, I can get that for you in the kitchen." You're like, "No, no, no, I'm on my way." I'm like, "Okay." And so I was just like, "Well,
Yeah.
okay, I offered." I've offered, like, 2 or 3 times to do one thing or another, or I go, "Jason, like, I could have done that for you." "Well, you know." And so,
So does it feel like rejection?
um I don't know if I put it because I know that it would. I think rejection would make it seem like you don't want my help, or
Mm.
but like for me at least. But it's just more of like he doesn't want help, and so I'm just like, okay,
So what does it do to your, opinion of me or your view of me?
keeps me more hands off. Yeah, like I definitely. I mean, like
Mm.
if I see a clear opportunity to help you, I'm never gonna not ask if I can help you. But
Yeah.
also like I don't know, and I hear what you're saying. I think I know what you're trying to get at, but also like it is, yeah, like it's just kind of like it kind of sums up everything we're talking about of like independence.
And the lack of vulnerability, creating more isolation or more disconnection.
Yeah. Well, especially too,
Is
because
that
like those were moments in front of me that I could have helped you with, and you didn't
right?
want that help. And so I was like, okay, like that's on him. That's fair.
Yeah.
Versus like I think when somebody texts you, it's like, is there anything you do? It's kind of like, yeah, can you take my anxiety away? Can you make me not feel like this is super scary what I'm going through?
Mhm. Yeah.
Can you like, yeah, like can you like listen to me cry? Like
Mm,
and some people can and do that. And so
mm.
when they can, that's great, but also like everyone's beholden to a schedule, and I don't know if everybody, like, wants to and is willing to make the time to do it, and so I
Yeah.
definitely know there are some people I know who will, and there are some people with where I'm like, "Okay, they won't." And so, I think
Right.
that that's a hard thing is that's the consistency piece I was talking about, is, like, how a person lets you in gradually then allows, I think, for a person to feel like they can lean on you. Like I remember when I was in grad school and I was having really bad panic attacks and I
Mm.
constantly was thinking I was having a heart attack. And
Oof.
I called, like I remember calling my friend who it was like the first like time I'd ever reached out to her to like take me to the ER. And
Yeah.
that was deeply scary. And because
Wow.
like I felt, of course I was scared, A, but also B, like to ask someone to take me to the doctor, like
Yeah.
that's it's really, really vulnerable. I if people have gone through that, my hat's off to you because it sucks. But also, like, she did me a solid and she showed up because of all the little ways we had built trust over the last year of that time. And so,
Right.
so I think that's where it's like, if you don't show up in the small ways when it's good on a regular basis, and then like as it creeps into that, it's going to be really hard to open that door wide open to somebody with vulnerability if you don't sense bits of vulnerability in the breadcrumbs along the way.
Right. Yeah. There's reciprocity and small sort of organic ways to build that trust. And if
Yeah.
that's not felt, then it is difficult to go to the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how much a person is willing to tell me about how hard things are for them is like that's something that I deeply cherish. Like I want to give
Mm.
out shout out Asher has been one of those people that has definitely become closer in my sort of inner circle because I think, they are incredibly open when they choose to be
Mm.
about how they feel about things. And I know that that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Love you, Cancer. They're the astrological sign, not the
Uh-huh,
disease.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah,
I hate
yeah.
that disease. Anyway, so I think like when I see people give me realness, even when it's not pretty,
Mm,
that is always going to endear me to them.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's maybe why I get so like when people are pushing the "Why are you in a bad mood? Where's your smile?" Because I'm just like, I know, like, I'm glad you appreciate my smile, but that's just me on my best or on better days. So it's
yeah,
like, if you are just like here for me, even when I'm kind of like scowly grandpa, like, then you must really give a shit about me. Like, I must
mhm,
not be, like you put earlier, too much.
yeah,
And so, like, that to me is important. Like, that to me is the for better or for worse in the vows, like, that is also in the friendship. Is like, if you like me at my worst, then you can get me at my best. Like, and I know that's a saying that's been around forever, but,
sure,
like,
sure, sure, yeah, you
also
don't
that
deserve me at
again
my
is not
best,
like a
yeah,
blanket statement to be, like, terrible to people. Um, so just wanted to put that out there.
yeah, of course,
What do you feel like? Because I think I've definitely made it very clear, at least I hope so. I think I've made clear, like, what are sort of my general criteria for, like, how a person gets into that village, and
mm,
so what are, I guess, like, early signs that you can see that somebody seems worth investing in to that vulnerability experience? Like, what helps unlock or unharness your heart in a way where you're like, "This is tough," but also, like, maybe this person's is giving a green light to
yeah.
proceed.
I think some, like, small behaviors that stand out to me that I don't necessarily take note of, but on reflection, I will think back and have noticed them. Eye contact
Mm,
in conversation, somebody who is looking at me in my eyes, like, showing signs of active listening, like,
yeah.
that makes a big difference to me, and then also, showing curiosity, right? Asking follow-up
Mhm.
questions, asking about my experience, asking me to go deeper shows a willingness to listen, hopefully, right? And hold that, and I'm sure that there are some sort of, intrinsic ways that I will practice that, right? Or I'll throw things out that feel okay for me to talk about, but are a little bit more vulnerable, and then I see how they're held. This is all
Yeah,
instinctual, right?
no,
Like
this
I
is
don't,
exactly what I'm wanting to hear, yeah.
yeah. When I get positive result from that, then I'm willing to go, a little deeper, a little more vulnerable, but I also I feel an urge to then reciprocate. So what about for you? Tell me about that for you. And right. And so then I listen and I
Mhm.
show curiosity and right. So I think building like those types of conversations for me build that trust that we're talking about. That makes it easier to ask for help, easier,
Totally.
more willing to then continue to show up and be vulnerable and to choose that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely I share with, like, her number 1 on the post that we've just been
Mm.
referencing was about identifying core needs, and, like, one of
Ooh,
my
yeah.
identified core, like, values
Mhm,
is curiosity, and so
mhm,
that also runs true for me. When someone shows curiosity about something I'm doing or something I like in a real way, like, where it doesn't just feel run of the mill, like, "How was your weekend?" Like, yes, that's a starting point, but, like,
sure.
when they pick up on something I said and they wanna know more in a specific way, like, that is an investment, even on
Mhm,
the smallest of levels, like, "Oh, yeah, why do you think that's, like, your favorite drink? I've never heard of anybody else saying that's their favorite
mhm.
drink." Like, those are those moments that can, like, crack open vulnerability. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like, "My heart's on a platter, and I need you to dissect it and find me in it." Like,
No,
no, not at all.
that's not what I'm looking for, at least not initially, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm just like, yeah, I see you on that, and I think that, yeah, curiosity. I just think if everyone was think about it, if everybody was way more curious in our world, how much better we would be.
Yeah. Just across the board, just about other people's experiences. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We make lots and lots of assumptions, and we don't find enough, I think, common ground through curiosity.
And then also curiosity of self, like, because then if
Mm.
you're not really getting deep with yourself and going, "Why do I do that?" Or "What
Mhm.
is it
Where
about
did I
that
learn
thing?"
that? Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why am I so entrenched in that? And
Yeah.
that is it's not easy, but it's worthwhile work. So,
Mhm.
yes, both, but definitely we need more outside curiosity to others, to things that are differing from us.
Yeah. Yeah. Pro-social behavior.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
pro social behavior that feels like it is, like, invested in something genuine and real.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, cause I think there's a lot of, like, "Hey, let's go out and grab some drinks and, like, shoot the
Yeah.
shit." But, like, you can't get too deep if you stay at that, like, baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
How about should we move to shout outs?
yeah.
What do you got for shout outs this week?
I think I mentioned this on a past episode, but I just gotta say it again because it's really been, like, it's kind of been my it's kinda like a warm blanket. I am lo
Mm.
I've been in the midst of a not a rewatch, really the first time I've watched it as an adult, which is Golden Girls. Because what I love about it, I made some notes. It is a sitcom of its time in the sense that sitcoms before the aughts, I think, had so much more of a willingness to be sincere and to
Mm.
have these moments that were more seemingly dramatic. And so, like, for example, like some of the episodes I've been like watching and I really feel like, wow, these like this was in the late 80s, early 90s, is
Mhm.
like talking about homelessness, talking about aging, talking about sex, talking about financial
Mhm.
concerns. I think they do they show conflict on this show in a way that feels deeper than a lot of sitcoms or comedies anymore do.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think I kind of like long for that period where it just feel like there was this desire to talk about real shit and to
Mhm.
do it in a way that like you could be hilarious, but then also have really heartfelt moments, and I see that with the Golden Girls in spades. Like, in one moment, they can be, like, slut shaming each other, which is
Mhm.
that
Right.
is something that
Yeah.
hasn't aged well, and also, like, then showing up in ways where it's really beautiful, and, yeah, I think, like, to me, I'm like, "That's the mirror of the world that I wish we had more of."
It has real heart.
It has real heart. It really
Yeah.
does. You feel it from all 4 of the actresses who play the characters.
Yeah. 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 Such a solid show. And yeah, I mean,
It is.
yeah.
And it'll just
Yeah.
make you laugh. Like, I laugh out loud several times an episode because it is
Mhm.
so well written and so well
Mhm.
performed. So, yeah. So, definitely, it's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, check out
Mm.
Golden Girls. I'm telling you, it you will want like, yeah, it makes you go like, "If my elder years could feel like this,
Yeah.
then that wouldn't be half bad." You know, I
Yeah.
would love to live with 3 other friends in a cool, like, little house together and,
Mhm.
you know, just share a life and stories and adventures together. Like, yeah, I definitely love that idea.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, what about you? What shout-outs do you have or shout out?
Well, I guess I'm not sure where to place the credit, but I'll start with I used AI this past week. Claude. I'm gonna give it to Claude. Uh, so I fed him some info about like my TV watching habits, mine and my husband's, in looking for new shows to watch because I felt like we are sort of like waiting for next week's episode on X, Y, or Z show, and so I'm like, give me some other things that we can kind of like to fill in the blanks, and it took maybe 2 or 3 passes, but came up with, I think, half a dozen shows that we're halfway through the list and actually surprisingly, like, excellent
Oh,
recommendations.
that's great.
Sleeper hits, like, that just were sort of in the background that I don't did nobody had heard of. They're not getting much press in the US or whatever it is, but a couple of British shows, Vigil. It's a cop slash military like mystery drama.
Mm,
Really, really well done. Nobody super famous that I can like name in this moment, but like
mhm.
that show in particular, 2 seasons, and then season 3 is about to be released at some point this year.
What's it on?
Uh, it's on Peacock. They're
Peacock?
both these two that we've been watching. They're both on Peacock. The other one has stars Eddie Redmayne,
Mm.
and it's The Day of the Jackal.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's an assassin and then he like performs a hit and then it causes this whole chain of events and then he becomes
Oh,
the center
cool.
of it and it becomes so it involves MI6. So it's again another British sort of like spy slash crime drama, but super, super watchable. Like both of them both my husband and I just really enjoying. So
Great.
yeah. Yeah. So good job, Claude, and good job, British television for
Yeah.
for
They
putting
get some
putting
good
together some
stuff.
good stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
All right. So that's it. That's our episode. Thanks, Sean, for having I guess, a different kind of conversation. Not
Yeah.
vastly different, but I appreciate going maybe a little deeper, maybe exploring like one particular thing and just kind of giving both our perspectives. It was really, really interesting to I don't know, to just talk about it this way. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming up with it and for putting it
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, for sure. Also, appreciate everyone who has listened and watched. We want to encourage everybody to find us out there. We are on Instagram at Collect Your Thoughts Podcast. We are also on YouTube at Collect Your Thoughts. And very soon we're going to be able to see more of us on the Apple and Spotify podcast platforms. They're going to be including video pretty soon. So give us a watch if you've only been listening. And then we also, as always, want to remind everybody to take a deep breath and
Collect your thoughts.
thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.